going on, everybody? It's your boy, Danny the Bull, here with a special live stream on a Sunday, joined by the Skypath security team. We've got CEO David Paolo here, CCO Omar Shans, and President of Corporate Strategies, Jason Rindal, also known as Up Crypto. I want to thank you all for coming on the show.
No, Danny, thank you for having us on, man. We've been watching your platform grow, and we think you're amazing, and you bring a different perspective to the space that's much needed, man. So thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Yeah, thanks for coming on. You know what? I've recently learned about the token and Skypath and what you guys are doing, and I found it interesting for a number of reasons. First and foremost, it's tied to a real-world business that utilizes a blend of advanced technologies, satellites, AI, blockchain. And I think notably that business is centered around saving lives, right? In addition to that, there are some very prominent and well-established people on board. So I wanted to take some time to learn more about what you guys are doing. And as I've covered it briefly on my channel recently, a lot of people have inquired, they wanted to learn more. So I've been in communication with Up Crypto, is also an homie. And so take some time to learn more about it. And we got some giveaways. You guys doing some giveaways today. So people here in the chat, you've got a chance to win $50 in AVAX, $50 in Sky token. But let's start with an overview of what you guys are doing with this business.
David, you want to go ahead?
Sure. So what we've done is we've developed a interactive platform that it can stream live data from inside an active event directly to first responders on the scene. It's also acts as a first alert or panic button type situation. So when an active event occurs, a button on the phone can be triggered. It'll go out to a 911 operator, which will dispatch first responders. And that first responders at that point in time will be able to load up on their devices the satellite overview of the lay of the land around the building, actual blueprints of the building, and then they can gather all sorts of data that's going on inside the building live as it's happening throughout the event.
And where did the idea for this come from?
It's it kind of evolved. We created a technology initially, which is a patented technology for detecting guns when they enter into public spaces. But we had stepped into the ICO world with a couple of players several years back. We were going to do a big ICO raise, but the partners that we were with involved in that couldn't get it done, and that technology required really 60, 70, 80, $100 million to be raised just to get through the lobbying phases, against the people that would be thinking that it was taking away gun rights and so on and so forth. So when that disappeared, we kind of got scrambled a little bit and said, hey, wait a minute, we're not going to have this technology, so we need to really figure something out. And as part of the team, our chief threat officer, Derek Bork, is a former captain of the Rhode Island State Police, former chairman of the School Safety Task Force. He used to do all the threat assessments for all the schools and public buildings in Rhode Island. So what we did was we said, okay, we're going to scramble here. We need to get some sort of a product. So we decided we were going to just do threat assessments on all these buildings and charge for that, so we can at least make a way to survive. And out of that, we ran into some technology partners that said that, hey, we could do this and make it more interactive. And then that kind of evolved into what we have now. And about a year and a half ago, we got connected with one of the larger military defense contractors, and we've been working with them for the past year. And we learned a lot about the industry, a lot about the technology, a lot of other applications that are out there that we can interact with our technology. So in the past year, by working with them, we've created and developed the platform that we have now.
And can you guys tell us a little bit about the technology? I've heard about spatial computing, satellite. I think you guys incorporate and leverage AI and also marry it with blockchain. How do these things blend together and interact?
Well, I'll tell you the initial piece, and then I'll let Omar step in and step into the back end piece. So, so the initial technology, like I said, it uses your cell phone, and it'll use cell data or Wi-Fi data, and there'll be an app on the phone, and which basically is kind of a hook to our platform. So the app is really not an app that does that does function. All it is a hook into the platform, which just gives you displays the data that's being requested from the platform. And then we have these satellite overlay maps that were for each region. And as we bring a customer up, we upload their blueprints to that platform, and then we map the blueprints to the network. So each room, when someone's typing in a room number, if they put in a room number 79, it'll know by the mapping what 79 is, what room number that is. So if they're in an active event and they press that they're in room number 79, on the blueprints, that room number 79 will light up in red. So first responders will know where they are. They'll also have some other inputs there. They'll be able to put in how many people are with them, if they're safe, and they'll be able to pick a code word. So when first responders get to the door in, bang on that door, they say the code word that was just chosen. They know it's the first responders and not another threat that's trying to get into the facility. So that, and all of the first responders now that have their devices, may it be the laptops in the car, or may it be their tablets that they're carrying, or cell phones, or staged out is an incident commander that's running the tech part of it on their command center outside. All of the data flows live to everybody that's watching it all at the same time. And while that's happening, that's all being recorded, and it's being recorded onto the blockchain. So I'll hand that off to Omar to kind of finish the rest of that, how that works.
Yeah, and pretty much as you guys know, the blockchain is immutable. You can't mess with the data. It's there, it's stamped. And that's why we wanted to put this information in the blockchain, because we realized that moving forward, this is the future, guys. Like, it's nowhere around it, no more cloud. We think everything's going to be on the blockchain. So being a forward-thinking company, we wanted to be the first company in this space, in this segment, to offer underlying technology being built on the blockchain, pretty much. So that's why we have worked with companies like AVAX, and just to kind of test them out and different things of that nature. But overall, I think it's nothing else in the space currently that's doing what we're doing and with the people that we're doing it with. And I think we're definitely going to set the gold standard moving forward. Also, the reason that we wanted to put this stuff on the blockchain, for one, like David said, we'll be putting all the information on the blockchain, and the commander can actually pull reports. And once it's there, you can't manipulate it. You can't do anything of that nature to, hey, I wasn't there, I was here. No, you actually were, because it's data that's timestamped on the blockchain. Two, from an insurance standpoint, it adds credibility to it. You can't change anything, and it can help reduce risk for companies that, hey, this is what it is. This is a report. It can kind of help with premiums and things of that nature too. So we're thinking long term of the different applications and ways that it could save from a monetary standpoint, not only from a safety standpoint from our clients, but also from a risk standpoint with insurance and liabilities that they could potentially mitigate with our technology too. And
there's a reason why there's no one else doing what we're doing. It's hard. I mean, this is hard stuff. It's not. This is what we accomplish and what we're doing is not easy. We also have multiple partnerships. So one thing that we don't want to get into is that we're all things, and we're going to develop all things for all people. We want to take the best of other tech and marry it with our tech, and integrate it with our tech. So those people can focus on making those pieces better, and we can focus on making our piece better. And at the same time, we're not overtaxing ourselves trying to worry about building everything for everyone. An example of that is a relationship that we have with Ripples. Ripples is a wireless tracking technology company out of California that we have an exclusive relationship with them to use their technology in the security and construction fields. And what their technology does is it's a radio frequency that they have a patent on, and it's a beacon that gets mounted to the ceiling of an internal of an infrastructure, or if it's a stadium type thing, because that's what they're doing. If it's a stadium, it's mounted at the top of the stadiums, and it sprays down in kind of like a cone fashion and covers large areas. But what it does is it can map an entire room or an entire stadium every 6 square inches by volume. So it's not like typical tracking or GPS tracking or RTLS tracking where they could see a dot moving someplace in the room and it may be wrong by 30 feet. It might be the wrong room. This is to the exact scale of 6 square inches. And if the item is 6 feet off the ground, it will know it's 6 feet off the ground at exactly where it is in that room. So it's very, very, very precise technology. They're using it in the entertainment arena. So they're using it in parks, and they're currently doing a test with the NFL. They could literally pinpoint if you have the app on your phone, their app for the entertainment stuff. They could literally pinpoint the exact seat that you're sitting in, and they could deliver you a promotion item, or they could deliver you something you purchased, or whatever type of promotions they're running. They can identify exactly the seat you're sitting in that stadium. For our purposes, we don't use tracking when we're doing schools, because we've run into, and again, we are this is an important point. We're very experienced on this, so we understand everything that's going on. We've been doing this a long time, building this. So a lot of the school unions don't want their teachers to have things on their phones that could track them. Even if it only will track them when they hit the button and it tracks them during an event, they don't trust or believe it. They don't want anything on there. So what we created for a school situation is when a panic button is pressed on their phone or any device, it's not tracking them. They pick on a drop-down menu the exact room that they're in, so they tell it where they are, and then that will then translate to the mapping that we did, and then it will light up that room on the platform for them. We're using the Ripple's technology for our commercial clients, and we've got a bunch of major clients that we are getting ready to announce pilots with soon. One of the clients has, and it's interesting because this is something that we didn't know. We learned this along the way as well. They have an enormous amount of blind and low vision associates in their team. So, and the way that they get around their facilities now is through friction tape. So they walk on the friction tape, they can feel it inside Braille, and it tells them where they need to go. But there are inherent problems with that. One of them being that it's static, so it can never change. So if there's an actual hazard that occurs in an aisle, let's say a pallet would have fallen over or a spill would have happened, there's no way to let them know that. But with the Ripple's technology married with our situational awareness technology, manager could go in and mark that aisle a hazard, and our technology will automatically route them around that piece. So, and to fill in a gap that I missed there, they have an app that we put on their phone. It's similar to like Waze. So you're familiar with Waze, how it gives you directions around the world. Well, what they do is with their technology, they map the entire facility, every aisle, every row, everything that they have, and then it loads into the wayfinding program that they have. So now they know the entire place. And then the blind and low vision people listen to an earpiece, and it can tell them 3 more steps. But it can also give them more color of everything that's around them. It can tell them what's there, what's on the shelves. It could tell them all of the information, and then it could say, hey, there's a hazard ahead. You're being rerouted. And it would reroute them around it. Also, if there's if they use any type of robotic type stuff or robots that move around the building, it will track those too, and it'll let them know when it's safe to cross those aisles as well. So those are the types of value added technology pieces that we are incorporating into this, and we're doing it for a reason, not because we just want to do it, and not because we're trying to generate more revenue because the platform is cost the same no matter what. What we're doing this for is we want to get the people that are our clients in our commercial space and in the school space where we're developing functions for that as well, to use it every day. Okay, so we want usable functional features every day. So why? Because I don't want to all of a sudden not use this in 6, 12 months, 2 years, and then an incident happens, and then I got to remember what to do. If I'm familiar with it and I'm using it every day for everyday items, I'm using it to punch in or I'm using it to do certain functions around my workplace, I have a familiarity with the technology. And when something happens, it's second nature. We go right into it. Same thing with law enforcement. This technology we give away free to law enforcement, so there's no charge to them. So when we get a client in a city, we bring that client up online. Derek and his team, they set up the law enforcement of all of the first responders that would possibly be responding to our client in that space. We get them set up and running to respond to that. But it's not just for that one client now. They can use that now for their situation awareness for all of their calls. So they can use it to communicate with all the officers. So they're using it on an everyday basis for everyone else, and they may never use it for our client ever. We may only have one client in that area. They may get the benefit of being able to use that tech free and use it for all that runs as long as they want. But again, we want that because we want them to have a familiarity with the technology and be able to navigate it quickly under high stress situations.
Yeah, I have a couple follow-ups. You just put out a lot of information, good stuff there. One is, what would the everyday use case be for clients?
So one I just shared with you, which is the wayfinding. So there are a number of different things. So remember, it's situation awareness and it's a communication tool. So they can use it for people to take attendance every day. Let's say for us in a classroom. So all the teacher will check in. The teachers take attendance and they list everybody that's there. They can use that to if there's disciplinary incidents that don't require 911 call. And there's stuff, and they need, let's say, to call a principal or call the local, just a resource officer that's on campus. They can use that for all their internal communications and internal issues that they have on a daily basis that don't require them use a panic button that requires law enforcement or first responders to show up. So those are the types of things that they can use it on a daily basis.
And just to expand on that, David, too, Danny, we can also use it for like all medical emergencies, a train derailment, any mass casualty event, God forbid something like that happens, canine searches for suspects. The use cases are endless, honestly. Large sporting events, a concert, or outdoor events, big warehouses, it goes on and on. Blueprint verification. So we really put some thought into this because we have some, like you said, Derek Bork was a former police captain. He has experience with this. And you got to remember, guys, we have Pete Gaynor on board, too. He used to be the administrator of FEMA and Homeland Security. So this was really thought out. And I don't think a lot of people quite understand the capabilities of use cases because it's pretty much limitless. You could use it for any application, correct, David and Jason? Pretty much anything.
Yeah, and I'll give an example about endless. Last year, I think it was around the summertime, we got a request from a company that was working for the White House that was having an event on the Capitol grounds. And they wanted to use our technology on the Capitol grounds as a situational awareness platform for the entire piece. But it required some special communication tracking tools in a wide open area that we didn't have available. It didn't meet within the ripple spec. Also, they didn't give us really enough time to do it. So we passed on that technology because we could have said, let's rush into it and say we did something at the White House or at the Capitol building, and then failed miserably, and it could have been ugly. So we decided to pass on it. But those are the types of requests that we're getting. I mean, we got requests to do something at the Capitol building to protect an event that they were happening there at the White House. So I think that that's a real powerful validation of what we're doing when you're getting those types of calls.
Yeah. And also any pushback from law enforcement or from cities in terms of using the tech and adopting it on their end?
Zero from the cities, zero from the law enforcement. The only people we get pushback from are teachers.
Yeah.
And it's amazing.
I can see it.
Yeah, it's classic. I mean, we did this. We did a whole deal with the city of Pawtucket, and we did a rollout. We did a press conference, and contracts and everything in place, and then we had to get called in by the teachers union because they wanted to know what's being installed in their schools that they weren't involved in, and so really, and it's not just Pawtucket, it's not just Rhode Island, it's Florida. I mean, we had a bunch of problems with the teachers union in Florida. We were involved in the passing of Alyssa's law in Florida. So I'm not sure if a lot of people know that, but so Florida passed a law called Alyssa's law, which is which is really in on the whole, which the Alyssa's law is not just a bill in Florida; it's a national bill that that states have passed. But it's only a panic button law, so it's just a law that somebody's got to have a panic, push a button, it goes to 911. What we did was something special in Florida. Myself and our chairman, John Howard, flew down to Florida. We met with all of the legislators. We explained to them how our tech worked. And in the 11th hour, they added pieces of our tech to the bill. So we're actually in the Alyssa's Law bill in Florida. So once that bill got passed and signed by the governor, all of the players that wanted to participate in it, the panic button people, which are basically the major players, the Coxes, the AT&Ts,
Motorola.
all the big carriers, Motorola, all the big carriers that have their GPS related and tracking panic buttons. Well, the teachers union wanted none of that because everything was tracking to what they wanted to do. So we got called in by the executive director of the schools for the entire state. And we told us, look, we don't do tracking in schools. Ours is we put in the number. So we went down there and explained it, showed them how it works. So the teachers union was much more comfortable with us than in doing it in that fashion, than carrying a tracking device. So long story short, we got zero pushback from just about every single industry, every single law enforcement agency and government agency. The only really pushback we had gotten was from teachers, and it's based on the tracking stuff.
Yeah. Can you talk more about, I've heard a lot about like the schools that you guys are involved with, some of the other partnerships that you currently have outside of schools?
It's really tough to talk about who we protect because it's confidential information, and it invites people to say, hey, okay, let's try to fuck with that, or let's try to mess with that, So it's like, you know what I'm saying? So we don't want to invite situations like that. So we really try to keep as much who the clients are, what buildings we're protecting as we can, especially when there are, some of them are, very high profile and very high value clients. So, but again, the majors, we were able to announce Pawtucket. The mayor was fine with that. We were able to do that. We're able to do what we did in Florida. So there are some things that we're able to do here and there. But it's tough to kind of get into the client list and where we're rolling things out because of that reason.
And let me give you a little more in-depth response to that too, Danny. We actually had put out some news about a potential client of ours that we were preliminarily talking to, or maybe have not been talking to, but we had people actually contacting clients and calling clients to verify what we said was true. So we learned a valuable lesson that we would let news come out from that client directly. We don't want to enforce no hype or any of that stuff. So that's why we take this stance now like that. You just have to wait and see what Skypath is bringing to the table then. So no, we can talk offline about it, but as far as public information, we can't share any of that. And that's just my compliance background coming to. I'm a compliance officer too. So yeah, we understand Reg P and privacy laws, and we're not trying to ruin any relationships we have coming down the pipe.
I will have something special to share though that nobody on this call knows towards the end of this call.
Oh, let's go, little alpha.
Oh man.
Not even these guys don't know?
They don't know.
Let me text you right quick so I can figure out if I can let you share it or not. Hold up.
They can't. I'm using my phone as on the podium, so I can't get any text. No private messages.
Can you talk about like the number of businesses and corporations, or the generalities in terms of like what you're trying to accomplish in terms of onboarding goes?
Yeah, sure. So I mean, again, it's a global platform. Our goal is to protect every building in the world if we can. That's really our goal. We just launched, so we're slow rolling right now. We're bringing people on right now slowly. We much rather take a slow approach and a correct approach than announce crazy numbers that of people that are that on the platform and then have it fail or have it not work. So this is I run into a lot of pushback and corrections, which in the right way from internal on our own side, from Omar, who's our compliance officer, who's constantly keeping me in check, but also from Derek Borick, our chief threat officer. He doesn't want anything to press forward on the technology unless he has tested it and knows 100% it works. He will not install a client unless it knows it's 100% work. He will not talk about a client unless it 100% works. Yeah, he doesn't even like us pitching clients until we have the tech ready for them. All of these things are take time, but it's perfection that we're after here at the end of the day. So I rather take a more time before we can announce massive numbers and have them be right than rush and then fail. So we definitely don't want to rush to fail.
Yeah, totally understood. And you said that you just launched. When did the product go live?
So the product's been live for we've had different versions of it. So version 1 was live about a year ago, and we brought a bunch of clients on that platform. One of them we can talk about, which is the Boys and Girls Club of Rhode Island, and that was on that platform. And we transitioned once we started working with a defense contractor, and we started using some different technology. We moved from that platform to the one we're on now, which is really just live right around this time. So in the past, couple of weeks to a month on the newest platform that we have that we're releasing out to everyone. Nice. So it's very recent.
Yeah. And, like I mentioned during the introduction here, one of the things that drew me to the project was the quality of people that you have on board. Can you guys elaborate on some of the people associated with your company?
Sure.
Go ahead, David. I'm sorry.
No, if Omar, you could do it. I'm fine.
No, I wanted to let Jason get, because he talks so eloquently about the team, and he's having passion about this, getting people to understand, like, look at the teams that you guys are involved in supporting. So Jason, if you don't mind, you could give a high level on the team.
Yeah. First of all, one of the things that we really try to emphasize, especially in this space, but I would definitely encourage everyone to take a look at the leadership team. And we were kind of talking a little bit before this broadcast. I saw that like 3 Project Rug today because folks didn't know who they were, and you're getting involved with an organization here that has a lot of extremely tenured experience. And I know we didn't go through our backgrounds prior to, but, David is a very, very successful entrepreneur. He has decades of experience. He's actually built tech companies. I'd love for him to actually expand upon his background a little bit because it's extremely impressive. Successful exits. If you're not familiar with that, what an exit is, it's when you build a company up and you're able to exit out of it. He has successful exits. Omar's has decades of, well over 10 years of experience specifically in this space. And I'd love for him to talk about some of the clients that are specifically in the Web3 space that he's either built programs for, or worked with, etc. Myself, I've been in the tech startup space since 2001. I was actually with a small company that was based out of Atlanta. We were the first organization to roll out voice over IP to the SMB space. And we went national, and we also went public and became $1 billion organization. I was a 25-year-old vice president. And I was in the MarTech space for a SaaS company that rolled out a data as a service platform in around circa 2013. I was VP of sales there as well, and helped the company land on the Inc. 5000 for 4 years in a row. We actually landed on the Inc. 1000 2 years in a row. And even as good as my background is, I'm basically riding on the coattails of these gentlemen, not to mention some of the other folks that are part of the team, as David had pointed out earlier, Derek Borick, but John Harwood is chairman of the board of directors. He's former speaker of the Rhode Island House of Representatives from 1993 to 2003. We also have, I think somebody brought up Pete Gaynor, certified emergency manager who served briefly as acting secretary of Homeland Security under President Trump. He also served as administrator of FEMA, Federal Emergency Management Agency. So these are folks with decades of experience, and also, very, very reputable reputations, serving the community, serving the government, building up organizations, etc.
And how did you manage to get such high level people on board with this?
Well, so it comes from your reputation and the people that are in your circles. John Howard is, we're a Rhode Island company. John Howard was the former Speaker of the House of the state of Rhode Island. So, I was a founder of one of the first internet companies ever to be created back in the early 90s before there was a web. We took it public. It was a 5th best performing IPO in the history of the stock market. So in a very small state, to have such a big public company, you become a little bit well known. So politicians knew who you were and whatnot. So we were able to rub elbows with them because of that. So we met John, and he followed a lot of things that we did along the way, and the relationship stayed. And when this opportunity arose, John was eager to jump on board, become our chairman. And I also might add that John is a founding member of the National Speakers Convention. So what that means is, because he's a founding member, he's a lifetime member. So what that is that there's a convention every year where the Speaker of the House of every state, they all convene and they meet and they talk about things. And John is part of that, and he goes there every year. So he has, access to the speaker, any speaker of any state that he needs to, if he wanted to make a phone call, if we had something that we wanted to work with within any individual state, which we will down the line, obviously, which we did in Florida, which is why we're part of the Alyssa's Law bill that got passed. So that relationship, and then of course John was, was close with Derek. Derek is a hockey player. We all play hockey, so we understood. There's a relationship there. And Derek was, came in and was very, very, critical on the tech being exactly what it needed to be, because he works in the field and he knows if he's in the field what he would want and what he would need to see to make his job easier. So Derek came on board, and that's kind of how that initial nucleus got started. We met Omar, and then we started working with this military defense contractor, which introduced us to Pete Gaynor, and we met with Pete, and Pete sees a little bit different of a vision, which is fine, because it's a separate demographic for that will be participating in. So Pete sees a massive opportunity in emergency management, coming from emergency management, and he's right. And so that we're planning to roll into that space as well as quickly as we can, and as quickly as our resources will allow us to. So that's really kind of anything that holds a company back is how much access they have to resources, how much access they have to capital to deploy, and managing that capital properly so they can take the baby steps they need to get to the next step and the next step from there. So that's kind of how the team came to place. It's a relationship. It's a reputation type thing, and the people and the project being a great project that people want to be involved with.
Yeah, and that's how Jason came aboard. I actually seen Jason's experience background. I got to know him for over a year. And after talking to him and really diving deep into his background, I said, hey, you got to come on and be our VP, president of corporate strategy. And to expand on that too, right, where I have you, Jason actually has put us in contact with a lot, large companies. I mean, I don't know if we could share who they were, but he really impressed me. And I forwarded that to Dave, and Dave, that's a no-brainer. Bring this guy on board. He could definitely help us scale up too. So definitely that's why the team that we have came together, and I think we have a rock solid team. I don't think any team in Web3 can compete with us or compare with us. And we're not the best, we're not the brightest guys, but damn sure know we're good at what we
bright.
do.
Don't sell yourself short, Omar.
Hey, I'm not the smartest one in the room, man. You can never be, man. If you are, then you got a problem, right?
Certainly not me.
Well, one of the things that's also extremely interesting is because it's a spatial technology, and David touched on a few things. There's other use cases and other applications that can be used, and so he touched upon a couple of those. But there are, and we're talking to organizations that can utilize our services to distribute the technology to their end users as well. And so you have all kinds of different streams from a revenue perspective. And so, what I really encourage folks is especially if, listening in, to David and Omar speak, this is, this is an organization that addresses a very large total addressable market. So, the space is in the $1 trillion range. And so you're talking about, things that are happening on a daily basis. And we see the reports coming in, and we see the crises issues coming in. And the first thing we think of is we have got to get our technology into that, wherever that issue is. And so, it is something that is very much needed. And, folks want to get this out there. And so there's a lot of opportunity for a lot of, growth in the organization. But at the end of the day, no matter what, especially in these crisis situations, we're helping to save lives. We're helping the folks that are trying to save lives close the gap. Especially seconds matter in a lot of instances. And I know a lot of folks, talk about like active shooters or whatnot, but you have to think, like, imagine if you're in a building and you have like 500 rooms and there's somebody having a heart attack in that building. And so seconds matter in that. And if you're a first responder going into a building that maybe you've never been in before, like, think about how they get to room, 1,234 that they don't know where it is. And so this technology helps close that gap just in that one scenario.
Nice. Yeah. I want to talk about the token, but before I do that, I want to get to some of the questions that were asked, because I want to do this in like a coherent manner and go, I want to get to the token when we cover some of this real world stuff. So how are clients attained? Is it through advertising or more word of mouth?
So right now, clients are selected. So we're addressing what we feel are where the needs are and where we can be the most impactful. So, in Florida, it was because of the passing of the bill. So that's important to us. But in Rhode Island, we're working with a lot of cities and towns and school systems here in Rhode Island. We're also working with trying to do, we had a meeting with the legions and towns and the head of the school superintendent for all schools and for all the cities. And we're working on really a big entire statewide project for the state of Rhode Island. So we're not looking to go out and market and have people call us and try to service calls. We're selecting, who we want to approach, and we're approaching them, and we're addressing sales that way on a slow fashion. Later down the line, when it becomes a little bit more of we get some critical mass out there, then the sales strategy will probably shift slightly, where we'll get the brand out there, and people will then start to call in to try to get to be interested in the product and stuff. So, but right now it's we're selecting the targeting certain corporations that we know we have solutions for. We're targeting certain towns, cities, and school systems that we know that we can address right away, and we can service them.
Nice. And SoCal asked, I think you talked about enterprise and corporate a bit. Anything like on a smaller scale, long term? Do you see this product working for smaller scale people?
Sure, it's basically for any public building that's out there, and at the end of the day, we have a long-term vision of smaller companies using the platform outside of the hazard situation on a day-to-day basis, where they're using their situation where they can, like industry clients, like say all florists or all shoe stores, they can collaborate with one another and communicate with one another on things that are happening in their store for, let's say, shrinkage, or for certain types of frauds, or for break-ins. So they will have a communication tool that they can talk to all of their like-minded colleagues and competitors to kind of share the types of things that are plaguing their business in those areas, and they can come up with solutions on it. So there's that in the aspect of this as well. That's an everyday use case on top of just if there is a person having a heart attack in a store, or if the store's on fire, or somebody's robbing the place.
So pretty much think about the neighborhood app, guys. So your neighborhood's same thing, same concept on the enterprise and commercial scale.
And is AI incorporated in any way? And if yes, how?
Omar?
So, yes and no. I mean, initially, everything's going to be AI driven, right? From the data standpoint. I mean, I say yes, but once we actually incorporate and we have our clients up and running, then we'll use AI to, do our threat assessments, 3D threat assessments, using AI artificial to do the scanning of virtual buildings and things of that nature. So it's incorporated, but once we're up and running and we have it in the building or our client, then actually we can incorporate our AI stuff. Because I know Jason has a lot of visions and thoughts because he's the AI guy, the VR guy. So it's incorporated, but he probably can give you a little bit more detail of what his vision is for it.
And on the security side of things, and on the that side, we are cautiously optimistic that some of those AI things may be right for us or may not be right for us, depending on what that intelligence is going to provide, and how it might expose other things on the side. So we are looking at this stuff every day. We are evaluating things. There might be stuff out there, and AI may be fantastic for all sorts of other business. It might not be fantastic for us. We won't know that until we get a look at it. But I can assure you, we're not going to introduce any technology into the platform that's going to create any type of a risk or a vulnerability for our platform.
Correct.
And prospectively, perhaps you mentioned a VR, AR, VR sometime down the line. SoCal's always forward thinking. He wants to.
I like SoCal. I mean, we have had talks about potentially doing VR training, and we're forward thinking as well too. We know the metaverse and all the things are real. I know David has had conversations with me back and forth about, hey, what if we got to do our training with law enforcement through VR? So that's some things that could potentially come down the map for the company. We have looked into things of that nature, but once we're up and running, I think the possibilities are endless for us. But we definitely preview of that, and it's very cool to me, to be honest with you.
Yeah, and there's actually a company that that does that type of virtual reality type of situational items. They currently have a small DoD contract where they do virtual reality training for military for certain things. It's a company that we've been in contact with for a lot of years. I know the CEO and the owners and management of that company. They know us, and we have it on our radar. I think at some point in time, we want to acquire them, and they want to be acquired by us. So somewhere down the line, when it makes sense, we will acquire that technology, and that will incorporate us to be able to do AR, VR, and virtual reality training for first responders to really kind of help them in all the types of different situations that they could see out in the field.
Nice. Let's talk a bit about the token. Why decide to integrate a token with the Sky technology security system?
Oh man! So
right, I'm tapping out now.
Just me and Jason laid there.
Omar.
So the reason we wanted to bring a token to the company side, I mean, let's be honest, right? A lot of money can be made in the digital asset space, but we figured, hold up, we have a real tangible product, right? And if we reach mass adoption, we could potentially have our token brand in front of hundreds of thousands of people. And on top of that, knowing that I'm a compliance guy, I work for Uphold, eToro, I have relations with Coinbase, I understand the education standpoint behind it, because you have a lot of people navigating to the space and they don't know what a DEX is, they don't know what slippage is, they don't know how to read a smart contract, right? They look on CMC, they see a warning label and think that's real. That stuff not necessarily true. So we wanted to use this as a point to not only have a governance token to allow people to, vote on certain things, or if you want to give the technology to a company for a year, they'll be able to vote on this and feel like they're part of it. But also, too, my vision is, and this is what me and Jason and David talk about, too. For instance, we have the partnership with the Boys and Girls Club. Once they're actually fully functional and up and running, we're going to have a conversation with them and actually help them be able to take crypto, Sky token, as a form of payment. And if they do that, then we can actually, help them with fees or give them some type of reward for doing that. Similar like when you swipe your card to get fees on that stuff, like Visa, MasterCard. So that's some of the ways that we're thinking from a mass adoption standpoint. And also, if these companies pay for their technology software in our token, they get a discount, a premium discount on that too. So we're trying to think of ways that get not only differ from layer zeros or layer one with the gas tokens, we hear utility. No, this is real utility because we have a product that's going to incentivize people for using our token. On top of that, we want to reward people and native blockchain. So right now we're on AVAX, right? We'll get, like you said, we're giving away AVAX to holders randomly. I just think of ways to incentivize people and try to be
Well,
outside.
if I can interrupt for a second, I know I said I said I tapped out, but I'm going to just send it to us. And well, some of the pieces of development that we're doing as well is going to be interacting with the data pieces of the platform with the blockchain. So we're going to have a bunch of different blockchain applications available. So one of them is that all of our data for our clients that we're going to be using will be stored on the blockchain, and then all of the recording of the incidents for that happen on, let's say, an incident that occurs that prints out every movement of that incident onto the blockchain and then certifies it. It allows first responders to the incident commander to use that piece to print an actual incident report instead of having to take weeks to interview everybody that was there and then write a report. The report can be instantly created out of that situation. So those are the types of things that we're creating on a blockchain, which the token will be able to be used to be able to purchase those items or add those items to them. So there's a lot of things that we're doing on the blockchain side of things, which will interact with the token down the line.
So think of a gas token without a layer 0, layer 1, guys. Think about that. So that's some of the applications that we're building. And it's different from any and everything else you see out here. I mean, you know, Danny, I could just tell you've been in space a long time. You know, we had conversations backstage. So you understand it. And like I said, think about it, guys. Look at the top 20 projects. What is the real utility for them? Let's be real.
Another question. Talk about tokenomics and everything is in circulating supply?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Including founders tokens and everything?
Everything's in circulation.
Oh, very nice. I noticed you guys have a really passionate community of Sky holders. Why do you think that is?
To be honest with you,
because we're rock stars.
Yeah.
No, I honestly, you know, we've been going through a lot of growing pains in this space, and we try to be as transparent as possible. I mean, flaws and all, right? They know they can access anything. We're gonna tell them the brutal, honest truth, right? And I think they believe it. You know, Dave would tell it how it is. You know, we don't bull crap, and we got real people. You don't see me as a JPEG or avatar. I'm Omar Shands in Virginia. Everybody knows me, right? I don't know. I just think they believe in the technology, and I think the upside too. Let's be real. The potential upside for what we're building and the people that we're building with is massive, right? And I think we're going to take a lot of people by surprise. But then, hold on. Let me kind of take a step back right quick too. So I just want to answer like a few more questions while I have this platform. Liquidity, guys. So we have our liquidity is in lock. The reason for that, because we want to be fluid. As we talked about off stage, we have potential other networks that are interested in trying to make us sway us to come utilize their network and blockchain. So that's the only way the liquidity is not locked. But guys, I manage the liquidity. So if it's pulled, you know it's Omar Shands that's did that. I think that's the biggest control than trusting somebody who you don't know. If anything happens, you can track the blockchain. You know it's me that did it, and I don't want that.
And I'll post his address in the Telegram.
And most people already have it too. And a lot of people ask about renounced contracts. The contract's not renounced right now. I actually have worked with Coinbase before in the past. You don't really have to do that right now because we have a tax on it. Once you see that we're renounced and the tax is no tax on that, then pay attention. That means I'm going for the big boys. So don't pay attention to a renounced contract, because in our case, when there's a tax token, to benefit the community, we can actually decrease that tax and take that off at some said date or lower it at some said date. And pretty much we just set this thing up to be as fluid as possible. If you look at the team, look at me, look at Jason, look at David, guys, you can trust us. We all here. We're real people. We have an LLC. We have a real business. You can find us. It's none of this stuff that you see with these memes. And nothing's wrong with that. But these other projects that fly by night, I call them fly by night. We're real legitimate, and we're building something. We really think we'll be a 7-8 figure dollar business at some point in time, just based on relationships that we have and based off the stuff that I know and the people that I talk to on the daily. And lastly, people join our Discord and Telegram. Join the Discord is super cool. We give away prizes. We give away Sky Token. We give away AVAX. Could potentially give away Cardano and Mainnet. There's great projects out there, so pay attention, guys. But go ahead. I didn't mean to take that away from you, Dave. I wanted to add that.
Danny, one thing too that I wanted to add to what Omar was saying is that, you know, everybody has friends, family, loved ones that we want to protect. And so there's literally not a soul that doesn't see the benefit of this. I mean, I want to protect my loved ones. I want to protect my friends and family members. And, this is a real technology that is cutting edge, that addresses a need that is very, very significant. You could put this in any building. It could be a museum. It could be a public library. It can be a school, etc. And so, there's a lot of people passionate about this. And there's a lot of people in the Discord and Telegram who have gone, they're a teacher and they've gone to their board and said, hey, we've got this technology and are you interested in talking to these folks? And of course, everybody is, because look at the news on an hourly basis. If you're on Twitter, you see something popping up like all day, every day. And so how many companies are addressing that? And what's the real solution there? And so, we're able to bring that. And one of the things that regarding the token side is that, we've all been in the space for a long time. And I look at like tokenization and NFTs and all that stuff from a technology perspective. I know, some folks look at it from this is a token, or this is a crypto, or an NFT is a JPEG that, you can move around and sell. But like, if you look at it, like what it is, it's a technology. And so all of these things are moving towards utilizing this technology. And so if you look at like tokenization, the reality is everything is going to be tokenized at some point. Everything. We talk about people tokenizing their background checks. We talk about people tokenizing their driver's license. We talk about mortgages, deeds. People don't realize that they pay folks hundreds and hundreds of thousands of dollars to dig through these vaults of deeds from the 1920s or late 1800s, and all of that's going to be tokenized. And so the team is very, very forward thinking at looking at the tokenization of assets, or whatever you want to call it. But one of the things too, from a token perspective, is that there are underprivileged organizations and underprivileged schools that they can't afford the technology, and so they should not be able to have this technology because they cannot afford it. And so, one of the things that the token is, the funds are put aside from the token so that we can help out with putting the technology in those organizations.
Yeah. And, Omar, you mentioned something about the token being renounced. What did you mean by that? And having to get rid of the tax?
Yeah, so it's not renounced yet. Renounced means you can't make changes to it. So this contract is not renounced. But we do think once it comes to a point in time where we're up and running and the volume is there and we can reduce the taxes and all that stuff, then we will renounce it. I got to go back and check Coinbase listing requirements and ask some of the guys there. I think you would have to, but I confirm that. But I just think that was a term. You have to have a renounced contract. We have renounced contracts that come out every day in their rug. So it really doesn't matter at the end of the day. But the reason we aren't renounced this yet, because we can make a few changes for the taxes and things of that nature. My goal is once we get to certain market caps, I want to decrease that tax, because at that time enough volume comes in, then we get secure more in schools and give grants away and things of that nature too. So it's not renounced yet. We can make changes, but if anything changes, I'm the one that made the changes. So use that as a control, guys. It's on me. If you see anything wonky or fishy, it's me. I'm not hiding from anything. Come directly to me. I'm not Omar Fish Jelly Bean 123 hiding behind a JPEG. No, it's me. He emailed me. So definitely.
Someone, I'm in a Telegram group, and someone mentioned the DEX score being a little low. Is that in regards to the contract?
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah.
So once you firm up, once you finalize things and get rid of that tax, et cetera, and it's renounced, then that DEX score will go up.
And actually, the only reason the DEX score is lower because the liquidity isn't locked just yet. Once we figure out what our we have a few things that's going on, and we could talk about behind the scenes that could change the dynamic of the whole project in general with some of these big players that we're dealing with, some of these huge networks. Once we figure out what our game plan is to be, and it would be within the next 30, 60, 90 days, liquidity be locked. I could care less about locked liquidity, because we could lock in and have a 10% of team token somewhere and just drain the liquidity anywhere. So that doesn't mean anything. But DEX tools and all that stuff, they swear like a score of 99 is a great thing, but it really is smoke and mirrors, guys. But we will lock the liquidity at some point in time. I have some great teammates, Jessica, Ross, my admins out there that stay on us about that stuff too. So we listen to community, and we will make a decision real soon, and we'll let you know when we do it, and we'll definitely make it known on our socials and all that stuff too. But join the Discord, and TG will be in there first.
Yeah. And Pat asked, I think you answered this first question already in terms of the token being integrated with payments and incentivizing consumers to use the token. He follows that up with about, a question about token burns, anything like that, or buybacks.
Token burns, no, that's a gimmick, to be honest with you. I mean, we only have a supply of 37.5 million. We burn the token. They decrease is what our total market cap could reach, right? Buybacks, since we're a company, we kind of get into little wonky situations with SEC when they become security, because now you may give them the thing of value, and we promising that. We're trying to think of more non-traditional ways, but compliant ways to do that. Like we talked to, and I could be honest, we talked with legal, with Avalanche, those are guys, and that's like, you really can't do that. So I give shout outs to Russell Klein, that's the assistant GC over there. But we're thinking of ways that we could definitely make it happen. And like I said, we care about community, and we want to be a top blue chip project. But definitely, if we could do buybacks, we'll definitely see if we can. But currently, we can't do that just because of security reasons. And one of our guys, Jim Labarde, Jim was a former IRS or SEC attorney agent, right? David, he's on staff too. So we don't play, man. We don't make sure we do things the right way.
Yeah, which is the right thing to do. In terms of token accessibility, any plans there to make it more accessible to people?
Yeah, I mean, most people, we will explore different dexes. A lot of this is contingent on what happens with some of the companies that we're dealing with in the next 30, 60 days. We have a few big meetings coming up really soon. Be on the lookout for that, for any potential news on that. But once we figure out where we're going, then we will look at exploring other dexes and centralized exchanges as well. And guys, this is let you know I worked at the CEX. I built the fraud program for Uphold. So I'm a little different. I do my due diligence. I want to see who the beneficial owners of these companies are. I want to see what your revenue look like. I want to see your books. I want to see if I give you. One day, guys, I want you to understand. I want to put it out there. You do not have to pay for token listings, guys. They can't charge you for a token listing, then make fees off the trades. That's not how it goes. Coinbase doesn't charge you. Uphold, eToro, none of the blue chip companies, none of the companies that are licensed in the US can charge you. That's just something.
I'll stop forwarding you those emails.
Yeah, because I shoot them down all the time. But we have talked to some, and if they can meet my KYC and my due diligence standard, because I don't care if you represent the OKX and you talking to me on Telegram, who the hell are you? Let me know who you are, man. I'm not, no. But we have some things in place, and shout out to my guys, Comics and Cryptos. They know who they are. They really helped us connect us with a lot of good people, great people. I think I should introduce you to Danny. But we're working on it, so stay tuned with that. We definitely want to make sure it's accessible to any and everybody, especially before any news comes out about some of the amazing partnerships that we have coming down the line.
All right, so we've been on for about an hour. I want to be mindful and respectful of your time here. I want to get to the alpha at the end, but before that, possibly do the giveaways now?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right, so you guys have $50 of AVAX to give away. Any way you want to do it particular, or no? I'm going to have these guys. I'm going to pick a number from 1 to 20, spam the chat. Whoever guesses the number that I just wrote down on this piece of paper gets $50 of AVAX courtesy of the Skypath Tech team. Let's see. Oh, they're going fast. Oh, I don't see. Here we go. Anyone? Not yet. I got it. Here we go. We got a winner. Let me make sure I don't make a mistake. I don't want to pull a Steve Harvey and announce the wrong person. I've done that before, man. We got Son of Dad 311. Pick the number 6. That is correct. He wins $50 of AVAX. Congratulations. And he can DM you or me.
Yeah, he can DM you. Whoever probably you this to be, All right. And let's do another one. Let's do one for $50 in Sky token too. I mean,
$50 in Sky. Let's do it. And we're gonna go different numbers. Don't spam yet. Yeah, we're gonna go 21 to 40. 21 to 40. for $20 of Sky token, courtesy of the team. All right, let's see. Oh, I see it. Someone got it. And it is Jimbrowski, 33.
Jim, congrats.
Congratulations, man. Congrats. Now, you said you had a little some news that these guys didn't even know. You want to drop it on them, or do you want to kick them out and then you'll just tell us?
No, we'll drop it. I think Omar has an idea. So we began working with a large media buying agency. We are offering on our platform a sponsorship for a sponsor to be able to buy an advertisement on the platform that will be in the hands of millions of people all around the country to be able to do that. So we are working with a couple of major corporations that may want to take that spot. In essence, they will be a sponsor, but really showing kind of how they support, protecting the public. But in one-off of that as well, we are going to be putting together a little platform as well that smaller business, so that's for big business to participate in on a large scale. Smaller businesses in their community will be able to go in as well and be able to promote their business or show their support from their business on the platform as well. So all school teachers, all employees of all businesses, and then all the first responders will be able to see that, and there'll be a way that they can actually touch that person's logo, and it'll bring them to a landing page where they can sell them a product or whatnot as well. So a huge revenue opportunity for us, bringing in support for the platform, and also being able to show the corporate community and retailers alike how they support public safety.
Very nice. Love it. And any final words?
I see you writing, Omar.
Nah, I'm just thinking because I'm just thinking ways how we can actually utilize that to benefit our holders of the token without violating any bylaws or statutes. So I'm just thinking, you got my mind racing. Okay, I like that.
Okay. Any final words from you guys for the audience here? I think someone, let me pull it up. I think someone said, I just want to shine light on this. Ross, Twitter Spaces after the AMA for Skypath community and all who are interested in talking directly to the community about it. So anyone here who's interested in joining that Spaces, head over to X following this and join there. But any last words from you guys?
Just appreciate you, man. Thank you. I think you have an amazing platform. I think you're one of the better YouTubers who actually understand what they're talking about and understand blockchain technology and understand great companies. So I appreciate you, man. I really do.
Thank you.
I'd like to thank you very much for hosting this. I appreciate it. Real professionally well done.
Yes.
Yeah, Danny, we really appreciate the time and having us. I will say that, we've got a growing ecosystem. Everything's on the table when it comes to us, a lot of exploration on many fronts, and excited to be able to announce some of these things as they start coming out.
Yeah, and I'm definitely excited for you guys and to see where this goes. And I think circling back to my question before in terms of what makes the community passionate, I think it centers around the mission that you guys have and what you're looking to do in terms of creating a product that saves lives. And I think that, people can get behind that regardless of, token price, et cetera. I think everyone can agree that making places safer is a mission that everyone can get behind. So thank you guys for joining us. Thank you for the giveaway. Thank you to everyone in the chat it was very active, for coming through. As always, I will catch you guys in the next one. You guys can hang on for a second.